It's so emotional now. Oh, this sucks.
Just think about the past. Don't even think about the past.
Nobody really tells the truth online. I mean, even me, like, I'm not going to show you guys tragedy after tragedy after tragedy. I'm going to wait till I have some sort of solution. The compound effect of baby Flo went down, my mom was diagnosed with cancer, then my mom dies, then Mojo has to go to ICU. The compound of all of this has just been overwhelming.
So I'd always whisper to her, "You're the best in the world. You're the best in the world. You're the best in the world. You're the best in the world.
You're the best in the world."
17-1-5.
And I would say that to her every single time. And I can't believe that right before I ran her, I got to whisper to her, "You're the best in the world."
I didn't know I was going to tell a bunch of little girls that their hero horse had died. I think that people need to know that there's no smooth sailing. That life is amazing, and every moment that you have 5 minutes to grab a hold of something and tell it you're thankful. Get knocked down 7, get up 8, right?
Texas, Fallon Taylor.
Little lady with a great challenge in front of her.
This is Flo, and it's time to go.
Baby Flo, she's around it. She gets together with her great horse, Baby Flo. Now here is the #1 cowgirl in the world standings coming into the Calgary Stampede. Thus far in 2013, she has absolutely been unstoppable, and she's unstoppable here today.
Woo! Tie-dye is coming back. The tie-dyed cowgirl just took the top spot.
Nice run, Fallon. #1 barrel racer in the world today. Would you give her a little applause before the run?
Got the great horse with Baby Flo. She wins the average. She wins the world championship.
But look at Baby Flo. They won $1 million on this mare.
Well, let's go. This is it for Fallon Taylor.
And she loves this kind of pressure. She loves to be the underdog. She goes to the left barrel first on Baby Flo. They have an amazing connection together.
And the winner's circle for that cowgirl. Big kiss to the crowd.
Fallon Taylor in the victory lap.
Congratulations, world champion. Woo!
Oh, man. Ellen Taylor will win. Fallon Taylor on Baby Flo.
When I was 7 years old, every day after school, I would watch the Mesquite Championship Rodeo for fun. And the barrel racing just absolutely intrigued me. I was able to go visit the Mesquite Championship Rodeo and watch it live and in person. My parents decided that day, I begged and begged and begged, so they bought me a really nice horse and they purchased my WPRA permit. The reason that I got my professional permit was because I wanted to run at the Mesquite Championship Rodeo. That's all I wanted to do, and we asked what would it take to run at that rodeo, and it was a WPRA permit.
Ponder this. Tonight she will try and set the arena record at Mesquite in barrel racing. Last week, she missed the mark by only 1/100th of a second. Ellen Taylor of Ponder is riding tall with saddle these days. She has already won $10,000 on the pro circuit this year.
I just like it because I get to go fast a lot. Just get to go fast.
That led to my parents urging me to write down my goals, and when I learned what the National Finals Rodeo was in Las Vegas, I was like, it would be really cool to be one of the youngest people to go to that.
I like it. I think because there's kids out there and they can say, I know her, she's my age.
Fallon hopped on her first horse when she was just 7 years old. She decided to grab the ropes and the reins after watching the rodeo on TV.
I wanted to do it because the crowds were clapping. It made me feel real special. Okay.
Just 65 pounds, Fallon leaves the saddling up to her father. It weighs almost as much as she does. But what makes this pint-sized performer special is her competition. She's the youngest rider allowed to compete against adults.
So as I started getting a little bit better and riding in freezing rain and snow and rain, my parents, over time, I proved to them that this wasn't a fad that was going away for me. And they bought me Dr. Nick Barr. And Dr. Nick Barr was, at that time, a 12-year-old stallion.
Her horse she calls simply Nick. This is Nick and Fallon.
Come on, Nick! Come on, Fallon, go!
Fallon, Taylor, and Nick are the reserve world champion youth barrel racers.
He was a career changer, for sure. I won my very first professional rodeo with Dr. Nick Barr in Lafayette, Louisiana, when I was 9 years old.
Her fans say Fallon's a natural in the saddle, but she gives a lot of the credit to her partner, Mr. Nick Barr.
No time to be studdish. Quit it.
Mr. Nick and Fallon don't have much time for horsing around. They're hoping to ride in the World Series of Rodeo. Fallon would be the youngest competitor ever at the national finals. But with supportive parents and her stud, Mr. Nick.
He's friends with me, and he's a top producer.
Then we started to look around for some backup horses or some, we were trying to learn the game and trying to learn what it would take to go to the National Finals Rodeo. So my trainer at the time was in love with this little mare that was on the track. My parents and I went to go see her. Her name was Flowers and Money, and she was running in a $7,500 claiming race at Lone Star Park. My mom told my dad, she was like, Shelton, Fallon's gonna be tall. Like, this horse is way too small. She's so teeny tiny. And our trainer begged and begged for us to bring her home. And the owners said that if she won the race, they weren't going to sell her, but if she won second, they would allow us to claim her. And she stumbled out of the gates and won second, and we got to bring her home. She was 2. I got to run her at the Fort Smith Barrel Futurity as a 4-year-old, and I won second at the Fort Smith Barrel Futurity, which was just the coolest thing ever.
Go, baby, let her out! Let her out!
This young barrel racer knows all about beating the clock. Her name is Fallon Taylor, and even though she's only 15, she knows what it takes to be a champion.
You have to have a special bond between you and the horse. Flojo is 1 in a million for me. She's just awesome, and we get together really well.
My parents have been so instrumental and so supportive in absolutely everything that I do.
But her horse, Flojo, isn't the only special ingredient to Taylor's winning recipe. Her parents are also important.
Take him on around, baby.
And in the end, her parents are proud.
I understand that not every single family is structured like this, and not every single group, when you pursue a dream, even when you're really young and you know exactly what it is that you want to do, I know that not everybody's getting this level of support. So I wish that everybody was.
There's her dad, Shelton. That's their classic move.
Man, what a close race tonight. It's going to come down to the final night. Man, what a race.
Come on, baby. Go, honey, go, yes.
After we got Flojo, Flowers and Money, and Dr. Nick Barr, and I went to the national finals 4 years consecutively on Flojo with Dr. Nick Barr, of course, helping all the way.
At the age of 13, she qualified for her first national finals rodeo.
Fallon Taylor, the sweetheart of America. We are looking at a lady that is 13 years young. 13 years and one of the best veterans of our game. You are looking at pure barrel racing talent to the line. Hurry! Talking about America's sweethearts as we did in the opening, this lady has won the hearts of fans all around.
Little Fallon Taylor, Ponder, Texas. This is Flo, and it's time to go. Fallon Taylor, Ponder, Texas. Just a darling, and she has grown up in this arena.
15-year-old lady that won our heart 3 years ago, and she still has it today.
It's not all rainbows and roses from here. I've been through a lot of tragedies, and this story is no exception. After I decided to take some time off from barrel racing, we were finally able to breed Flojo to Dr. Nick Barr, and we got 4 amazing babies. We got Flo's Knick-Knack, we got Nick's Nefertiti.
She's riding Neffy tonight, the horse.
We got Nick's Wachuca, and we got Flo's Eris.
Yeah, looking good. Come on, Flo's heiress.
I started training Nick's Huachuca first.
This is Huachuca, and Huachuca was named that because he is out of the horse that I won so much money on, and my stallion that's breeding mares from around the world. His name is Huachuca. It means the great one. So he's only 2 right now. We expect him to be incredible later on.
Got him to the point where he was winning. And finally, I won a rodeo on him, a pro rodeo at Inverness, Florida. I was so excited. And a couple of months later, I was up at the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo, and I was ready. This was going to be the year that I could finally go back to the National Finals Rodeo. I had this horse trained all by myself, and I remember telling someone it takes a $150,000 horse minimally to go to the NFR. And I remember telling that person, they said, well, haven't you ridden those? Couldn't you just train one yourself? And I was like, yeah, I mean, I guess, but that's just not how any of this works. And the light switch just kind of came on. I trained Chuck, as we called him. I won on him, and just before the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo, I worked him. It was really rainy that day, and I worked him in the mud just to get used to like mud and rain and stuff. I just rode around trotting and loping, tied him back in the barn, and was on Neffy. And I saw that he got loose, and he was squealing at some horses in the pasture because he was a stallion. And I went to get him, and when I did, he caught his shoe on the fence, and when he looked at me, he pulled his entire hoof capsule off. It was a very, very long story, a long road to recovery just to have him be happy and comfortable, but it was career ending and put a halt to my rodeo comeback. So I've been through a lot of tragedies, and that was no exception, but this story isn't about that. Once I wrapped my head around the fact that Chuck was not going to make a comeback, and I was in denial for a very long time, months and months of living in his stall and really feeling like this horse could make a comeback, I finally realized like that's just not going to happen. So in 2009, I broke my neck, nearly died, had to learn to walk again, and it was kind of that moment that really propelled me into being like, I need to get serious. I need to believe in myself. If I had died right there and had given up on all of my dreams, life just wouldn't feel like I'd completed anything. So I vowed to get ready to come back and make a really big comeback to competing. And I was always attached, out of all of the babies, I was the most attached to Flo's heiress. The funniest thing about it is that I'd never given her a barn name. And so I just told everybody I was going to call her Baby Flo until I figured out what to name her. Turns out she's Baby Flo. I sent her to a man that was down the road, a world champion cutting horse trainer. And I said, can you break her? Because I'm obviously in a halo and not going to be able to get her broke. And I'm scared to ride, and it's going to be a long road. Can you get her broke? And I'll never forget, because I actually went to like a little bonfire thing while I was in a halo, and he was there, and he came over to me and he goes, I've had your horse for about 3 weeks. And he said, you're going to have to come pick her up because this is the horse that's going to kill you. I haven't even gotten on her back yet. You know, and you're already hurt. I feel the need to tell you this is going to be the horse that kills you. And some really crazy part of me immediately was like, that's the one. Flojo was an interesting horse to be around. She liked just me and only me. And she was a little dangerous to be around. And Baby Flo for 5 or 6 years only liked me and was really, really tough to be around. And now she still only has a handful of people that she can even tolerate. The ending of Chuck's career led into the beginning of Baby Flo's career. The almost ending of my career led into the next phase of my career. So a lot of tragedy wrapped up into a short period of time. And that's not what this story is about. So a few things, when I started training Baby Flo, I called my parents and I said, you need to come watch this horse because I'm going to go to the NFR on her. And I had her working pretty good. My parents came over to watch her and I could not make the barrel pattern. And I was just like, you've got to be joking. And I kept saying, like, you understand, like, this horse could take me to the NFR. The words world champion never left my mouth, but I was like, but she for sure could go to the national finals. And that took a while to get her ironed out. She goes to the left because she threw a fit one day going to the right barrel first. I took her to the left barrel first, and she didn't throw a fit. And so I was like, okay, we're just going to do this for a while. You know, it feels a little bit better. And I hauled her to her very first barrel race, and it was right down the road. And I ran her to the left, which I wasn't any good at because I didn't know how to go to the left. I'd never been to the left. And she won or placed really high in the 1D. I'm pretty sure she won it. And I was like, well, I better learn how to go to the left. I was driving my dream car at the time, which was a Mercedes AMG 550. This is so stupid. The car payment was $845. And I was like, that's dumb, but I was young, and like, that was the dream car that I wanted. I had this expensive car, and so what I did was I was like, you know what? I'm going to sell the car, and I'm going to commit to spending $843 a month on entry fees. And I did not, I didn't factor in gas and diesel. When I went down the road, I was like legit broke. Like, I didn't factor in food and all of those things. And I had a ranch payment, and I was single. Of the $843, I would take that money and get the cash out of the bank and have that money in an envelope, and I would go to each race, and I would spend that money until I could make that money back. So Baby Flo and I, like, I lost for a little while, but I legit had to win to eat. Like, I went to rodeos, and I couldn't eat food. I couldn't eat a hot dog. And what was cool is that I had friends that dressed me so that I would look the part and not get made fun of. But I couldn't even eat. So I would sell my saddle. The fact that I'm surrounded by saddles right now is like blowing my mind, because I would have to sell my saddle and buy one cheaper so that I could keep riding in a saddle, so I'd have equipment to be able to afford food or sleeping in my truck or whatever else. She's literally put clothes on my back. She's literally put food on my plate. Like, she literally paid for my ranch. So when I see little girls with a Breyer horse, I'm like, I hope that they get part of this story. I hope that they understand the bond. I hope that they get that all of these really cool things I owe to this beautiful animal. That just every single time I pull her out of the stall, she tries so hard for me. I know that Baby Flo knows. And I think my closest friends know that that horse knows for a fact. I know she knew the time when I needed to win. I know she knew that. What's funny about later on in my career is that she would just chill from the third barrel out. Like, when life started getting better, she would turn the third barrel and just be like, we're good now. Like, mom's driving a King Ranch now. Like, I'm gonna just kind of coast. So I know that she knows that life is so much better, and I appreciate that she's not in this constant state of like, I've got to help this lady out. Like, I have to put food on this lady's table, because I feel like she felt that level of desperation from me. And that's why you see Baby Flo with like the veins are out and she goes. And that's why it's so cool now, because like, we used to clean the stalls here. Like, we used to sweep the hallway. We used to bleach the stalls down, and we used to pull the mats out. We all know how fun that is. But having somebody here 24 hours that lives across the hall from her just for her, I feel like she totally gets that the vibe is different now and that she's good. I'm so happy I was able to give her that like moment. We're good. Everything's fine. Through all of those different tragedies of like getting down the road and rodeoing, we had a borrowed truck and a borrowed trailer from my parents. Borrowed truck was from my neighbor. We went down the road, and I made some like entering mistakes. I made a whole lot of riding mistakes. And 2012, I ended up like $641 or something, 16th place. And I'm gonna tell you what, that is so traumatic to just all year long, and every dollar of your pocket, out of your pocket, and digging up coins in your seat and cup holder to try to pay for diesel and pay for food. And that was just not a lot of fun. So I went through that. And the season gives you 24 hours before the rodeo season starts again. So your level of resilience needs to be like fast. So October 1st, being, the #1 loser of the season, I went through and was definitely going to get back down the road and give my parents a chance to see a horse that I was able to make from the amazing horses that they provided for me, I wanted them to be able to see me run down that alleyway one more time on something that I was able to piece together myself, since they had helped me so much. That's what 2013 was about. It was really great. I mean, it was highs and lows just all year long of just like hitting barrels, setting arena records, setting more arena records, hitting more barrels, winning a lot, losing a lot. I did enough to actually qualify for the 2013 National Finals Rodeo, and my peers voted Flo Zaris as the AQHA Horse of the Year, and I was actually second for 2012 because I think every person saw that we were this struggling team.
Let's go to the 2013 Horse of the Year named Baby Flo.
Everybody forgot my credentials from the 90s. Everybody treated me as if I was brand new on the road. And I had to earn that credibility and I had to earn that respect. And I fought tooth and nail to get back down the road. And then I got to the national finals and I was like, okay, let's do this. Something that was looming in my head is that when I was a kid, I joked before I knew how important words were and an expectant heart and meditation and visualization and all of those things. I told myself that NFR stood for Not Fallon's Rodeo because my horse just didn't work that well. And boy, oh boy, did I live up to that. 2013 was not Fallon and Flo's rodeo.
All right, Fallon. Keep them standing tonight.
We went and I hit barrels, I think 8 out of 10 rounds or 7 out of 10 rounds. I mean, it was just a disaster. I was a complete wrecking ball. I was embarrassed. I was still reading things on social media. I was just a joke. I was told that I looked like a piece of bait and tackle in the arena with my style. My sponsors dropped me. Thank God my friends stood by me because it was not good. It was just not good. My family would pat me on the back and tell me that they're still proud of me, and I just knew that inside they were just like, we're cheering on the girl that's just such a loser here. I had won Horse of the Year and then completely embarrassed myself. And I decided that I was going to change the game. I decided the last night of the 2013 NFR that I was going to come back 100%. I definitely was not going to lay down and roll over. I was going to change this from Not Fallon's Rodeo to I have one job, and that's to come back and show my family and my friends that this horse is exactly who we think she is. Because at this point, like before she wins Horse of the Year, before she does anything, we think she's really special, while everybody's making fun of me online, being like, oh, this horse is thin and she hauls in an ugly trailer and her truck doesn't even have a side panel, and like, oh, she doesn't shower every day because she can't afford a trailer with a living quarters, and all these different things that I got made fun of. I thought it's time for redemption. That's what I dedicated my entire year to. 2014 was I was going to go back. I didn't want to win the world. That had never crossed my mind. I just wanted to get back, and I qualified back to the 2014 NFR third. My goal was to win the average. That was my goal. And I actually started the year off by winning some averages, and I won my first average in 2014 at the Clovis, California Rodeo, and I was like, that was April, so I'd worked from December to April. Was like, okay, I can win an average. It was in my mind that I couldn't place in an average where there's more than one round because I would hit a barrel eventually. And when I won that in Clovis, California, I was like, now we're cooking. Now we can really do this.
That's the fastest run of our entire week of rodeo. Atta girl, Fallon. Atta girl.
I went to the national finals in third, but first was Kaylee Bass and second was Lisa Lockhart, and those people, like, you couldn't beat them all year long, so there was like no point to even try. So my thought was just to go in and try to win that average race. And it was the first night of the NFR, and there's a preacher that has I believe he calls it the power hour. Right before you go in for the grand entry at the national finals, there's a tent in the back with a TV, and they play Viva Las Vegas, and you get pukey, and then you realize like you're about to make a run with 2 million people watching that have just all made fun of you all last year, because the people that watch the NFR typically don't watch all year long, so all of your wins up until that point, like, nobody cares about. Here I'm gonna be somebody, and I'm going to like prove that this horse can win the average.
Tie-dye is coming back. The tie-dyed cowgirl just took the top spot, 14:09.
And in that power hour, the pastor said, if you planned your entire life as if you visualize the end of it and then lived it backwards, you would be able to actually write your own script.
Your Pendleton Whiskey victory lap in the barrel racing is going to belong to none other than Fallon Taylor on Baby Flo.
And so I took that very literally, and I'm really glad I did, because I was like, oh, well, if this were like, if I was writing my own script, and it was 5 minutes of thought, literally 5 minutes, I'm already at the NFR. I was like, I have this gold outfit, and if it was perfect world, I would win the world, and I would wear that gold outfit, and I would jump up and down and get my gold buckle. So every night until then, like, I would run just like this if I was going to win the world. And I didn't realize how instrumental that little 5 minute conversation with myself would be.
Yep. 1385, she tops the field down.
And that means for the second time in 4 performances, the lady with all the color, Fallon Taylor.
I remember catching a lot of flack because on Gold Night, there's like a Gold Night for charity. None of us do anything actually charitable, so it didn't make a lot of sense to me to wear gold for that awareness. So instead, I donated my winnings from that night, which was like, I don't know, a couple $1,000 to the charity so I could actually do something, and I didn't wear gold. So everybody online, of course, didn't know that I donated instead of wore gold, but in my mind, I needed to wear gold that last night, and I did really good, and I kept doing really good, and I kept telling everyone around me, I don't want to know anything about social media, and I don't want to know the numbers of where we're at. What I didn't know is that everybody around me knew all I had to do was place higher than Lisa Lockhart to win the world. The 10th round, I didn't know that that's all that I had to do. And my dad looked at me like this when they swung the gate open. And I just went, it's okay, I got it. It's okay, I got it.
That means, I believe, Fallon's got to run a 1389. She needs to do that if she wants that gold buckle. Taylor has won round 1 and round 4. Whitesboro, Texas has to take the lead by 100 on Baby Flo. The best dressed barrel racer for the 2nd year in a row. Glitzing it up on a Saturday night.
Watch out, here I come.
Hello.
And I went in and I placed higher than Lisa in that round. And my dad just kept saying, you won the world, you won the world, you won the world. And that was just the coolest moment. One thing that, as I was like repainting my tiger, which is something that I said all the time, was like, a tiger can change its stripes. We can be the worst that was ever at the national finals and then be the best. Like, I believe that to be true. So I would whisper to her every single time before a run.
You're the best in the world, Mama.
1715.
Girl, Mama, good girl. You're the best in the world, Mama.
Words are just really important. Words are so important. And what people say to you, how people label you, is very, very important. And so I'd always whisper to her, you're the best in the world. 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 And I would say that to her every single time. And I can't believe that right before I ran her, I got to whisper to her, you're the best in the world. And when we came out, she finally got to live in that moment. And my parents got to see that moment. My friends got to see that moment. Every single one of my haters got to see that moment. It was just really, really good. Really, really good. She is the best in the world. And I'm so proud of her for that.
Baby Flo is very, very special. She's more than just a horse to us. She's sentimental to my whole family. Her sire and dam, we went to the national finals on. They were incredible equine athletes. She is just a product of that. She's a machine. She's not just a horse. She's not just something that we purchased to come to the national finals and win a world title on. She's part of the family. She's something that we hold near and dear to our heart, and I think we're going to get staff shirts made that we work for Baby Flo because our little world revolves around her. Horses are 1 in a million. When you find that one that you gel with, it's a career changer, it's a game changer. Whether it be the horse that you go to the barrel races on and you win at your local jackpot and you achieve those small goals, or you put the work in and you come to this playing field and you end up with a world title. When that horse comes into your life and changes the game for you, it's just unreal, and they're the most special things. Without her, I wouldn't be here.
It's easy to feel like you're the only one in the world who's stuck, defeated, or barely holding it together. That feeling is human, and it's a lie. If you just hold on, stand back up, swing again, the courage will find you. We all need a little help sometimes. We need someone or something to remind us that it won't always be this way, and to show us that joy and sadness can coexist. There's one thing I know about life. It's not fair to anyone. But I know we're all gonna make it. If we try. Just something to think about. Good?
I realize that everything works out for a reason, but it's just like, can we not have so many things thrown in at one time? I live my life in a way that I present myself online, and I, even like right now, trying to like hold back all the details of what was happening at the same time. I hate these kind of videos where people are just crying too, so I'm trying to like get it together. I think that I put so many things online. One thing I don't want to do is ever provide problems or throw up on people with all of these different problems. People are all going through something all the time. Even the smiling people, the sad people, everybody's going through something, and we don't know everybody's story. But I think that social media, while it's great and I get to reach out to everyone and get to know so many people that I otherwise wouldn't, it's just, you know, it paints one sort of a picture, and you know, I'm okay with that because I don't want people to see every single downturn and get discouraged if they didn't catch the highlight reel also. So I love it, I hate it. Here we go.
Does that work?
Yeah, and
Okay.
then do you want to just...
Jesus Christ. This isn't looking good.
No.
Welcome back, y'all. If you love all things Western, this coming June, there's only one place you need to be. New York City. We're not kidding. For the first time in 30 years, the rodeo is returning to the Big Apple.
November, December, January. Oh my God. So we're in the middle of planning a wedding and really excited about that. And then I get news that my mom is sick. And the wedding's November 23rd. I leave a voicemail for my mom on my phone, and I know I should erase it. She was so sick that we didn't think she would come to the wedding. She didn't show up to the rehearsal dinner unannounced. She didn't want me to worry, but we just knew she was sick, but we kind of had a diagnosis, but we didn't have a full diagnosis yet.
Stress will kill you. I haven't slept. I don't think I told anybody, but I cried the entire night before my wedding because I didn't think Mom would be able to make it. And literally sobbed, literally heaving, throwing up, sobbing, the whole deal. It was a rough night.
And so she was gonna come to the wedding, obviously on the 23rd, but she wasn't feeling well, and she left me this.
Hi, honey. I was just calling to see what you wanted me to do.
If you knew my mom, you know that she didn't sound like that. So it was hard for me knowing that all my friends were gonna see her frail because we didn't have a lot of details. At the same time, I was trying to actively run Baby Flo at different events, and I was so discouraged. So Lolo and Flobot weren't completely ready to go down the rodeo road, and Baby Flo just didn't feel right. She was doing okay, but not like a world champion that's won $1 million. So thinking about the 2020 season and that I really wanted to go down the road, and Alex was really encouraging me to really think about entering a lot of the rodeos and going back to the big rodeos. And Jessie was pregnant, so thinking about oh, it would be so cool for after Jessie has the baby to go to some of these big rodeos and let the baby see all these rodeos. And anyway, so I had a lot that I was thinking about when it came to Baby Flo. I was pissed off, to say the very least. I kind of just thought that everybody gets mad at their horse. I'm human. I was upset. I kind of thought she just
was bored with it. Like, I just kind of thought she was bored with the game. Be honest right now, I'm upset, I'm heartbroken, I feel defeated, I feel all the things you would feel after you just really suck. And it sucks to suck. I had lost my steam and my excitement to run her, which I feel really kind of guilty about, but it's just like wasn't fun anymore. And I thought, man, there's no way that this is the end of her career. Lolo and Flowbot, Mojo, those horses were starting to like really step up to the plate and like really do good. And when they would outrun her, it would like really upset me.
Woo! Man! 15, 247. Oh, is that a new leader? No! You're sitting second place, Fallon. You're second place, 15, 165, 15.165. 1D. Fifth place, Fallon Taylor with the 15.165. That is your 1D.
That's it.
2D, 15.548, 15.548. The fourth place, Fallon Taylor with the 15.548. Fifth place.
You know, she's young. She was 13 at the time, and like her career shouldn't be over. I've treated her with kid gloves, like everything should be right. And so I was just starting to feel really upset, and I remember crying and telling my friends, like, this is not how I wanted her career to end. This is not how I wanted her career to end. I ran at the WPRA World Finals. It was bad. I was not excited. We weren't a team. I was not excited. She was feeling like I wasn't listening to her. I was feeling like she wasn't listening to me. And we just weren't communicating like normal, and something just wasn't right. Like, it just wasn't right. So I decided before the World Show, because 2018 she had won the AQHA World, which was really special to us, and I won that on my mom's birthday. And so 2019, with everything going on, it was like, I'm not gonna win the world because she just, you know, and that lines up on my mom's birthday, but my mom isn't feeling well, and she couldn't go. And so it was just like this whole thing of like this cluster of time. So I decided to change Baby Flo to the right barrel first. In my world, that's really crazy. Like, that's like being a right-handed pitcher and deciding all of a sudden to change to the left hand. Like, you just don't do that mid-career. You would never do that. That's the most crazy, asinine thing a person could do. So of course I tried it, and I thought, why not take her to the right and just let her feel something different, and maybe this will be more exciting for her. And so I ran her at the World Show.
Flo's Heiress, owned by Diane Taylor in Collinsville, Texas, written by Fallon Taylor from Dallas. Entry 2814, Flo's Heiress.
And I made a good run to the right. I mean, it was crazy. I won a check. I won like the brown ribbon, whatever that means. It was not good. But I made a run, 8th in the AQHA World Show, going to the right barrel first with like 3 weeks of training and maybe one practice run. Every run I just came out just feeling not right. So I went to a barrel race. Baby Flo was tied up at the trailer, and I was running Lolo, and John was running Flowbot, and whatever. We're all running horses. Cody's running Mojo, and Alex came to that jackpot, and he was like, something's not right with Baby Flo. And I was like, well, I know, but you know, whatever. And he was like, no, something's not right. And he was like, she's digging and she's pawing and she's weaving at the trailer and all these things. And I'm like, she does that when all the horses leave. And he goes, no, it's just something's not right. She colicked a little bit in November, early November. We gave her some Banamine. She's good to go, no big deal. Late November, she colics again. Give her some Banamine, no big deal. December, mid-December, she colics again. I get a phone call. We run up here, give her some Banamine, no big deal. John keeps a very close eye on her. I get a call, and what I'm scrambling for is that we're gonna go to Rodeo New York at Madison Square Garden in June 2020.
Haley Lockwood, Fallon Taylor, Sherry Serby, Lisa Lockhart, Brittany Posey Tanazi, Kelly Duperior, Mary Walker, Kelly Kaminsky, Lindsay Sears. World champion barrel racers compete inside Madison Square Garden Father's Day weekend at the Cowboy Channel's Rodeo New York.
And so I really, really wanted to do well there, and I wanted my mom healthy for that. So like that whole thing was just like trying to rehab my mom, trying to get her into a cancer center that could help her
and try to have my horse together for this big thing that everybody was going to. So I booked all of these plane tickets and booked all of these rooms, and that was my main focus. At this point, like, I just want to do well so that 2020 starts off good. And little did I know 2020 would be what 2020 was. I probably would have put of course I would have put a lot less pressure on myself, but I was putting a lot of pressure on myself and just trying to stay positive online, just like trying to stay positive and be the duck, you know, just keep it cool on top of the water and pedal underneath. I need the things that I need. My business needs to run. I just need one thing to work. I need my mom to be healthy. I need my horse to listen to me. I need this wedding to go smoothly. I need the NFR to go smoothly. I need all my merchandise to come in on time. And it just started, it was like one thing after another of just like piling on weight of the world kind of stuff. And we honestly, like, we're built for that. I've been through a lot in my life, so I feel like we work best under pressure. But like, if you could give us a break and not put so much pressure on us, that'd be great. But it was just like, how much can I take before I break? So I found a cancer center for my mom to get into, but that was gonna happen later on in 2020. Manufacturing was at a complete halt. It was just an absolute nightmare of how we're gonna go into 2020 running this business and being able to stay in business. How am I gonna get my horse working for the January rodeos to get prepared for Rodeo New York? Am I gonna run to the right in Rodeo New York? Am I gonna have to run a 5-year-old at Rodeo New York in Madison Square Garden and not let Baby Flo have that opportunity? Just a lot of questions. So December was rough. The NFR went well. I took Flowbot, Cody took Mojo to run at the all-in race. They did good. Flowbot didn't do what I thought he would do. He had just come off a big win, which actually went right. So my wedding day, November 23rd, my mom was able to stay for a little while and watch the wedding. So I was super excited. I got to high five my dad and all was well in the world. It was a beautiful party and just amazing. The same time that I was going down the aisle, like just before John had gone down the alleyway, and I got told at the reception that John had won second in the world championship futurity and Flowbot was the reserve world champion. So that was our, like, we have a little light at the end of the tunnel that something is going right. Then we get to the NFR, we do okay at the all-in. Cody outruns hundreds of people and ends up one out of the money in the 1D in the short round and doesn't win $1. Legit cost us $15,000 to go and to enter and to be there. And we won, like, I don't know, not much. We didn't cover our entry fees, but running those horses at the NFR kind of gave us all something to look forward to. Jessie didn't have a smooth pregnancy. I mean, she thugged it out, but it wasn't smooth. It wasn't without inherent risk. And so that was kind of our release. The all-in race was for sure our release during that time. We finally got to come home. And we tried to, like, kind of patch a Christmas together. It was patched together for sure, and just enjoy that holiday. And part of my contract for the Rodeo New York was that January 1st, I needed to be on the Walk Ride Rodeo New York float in the Rose Parade in Pasadena, California. So Alex and I decided that that would be amazing because the football game for Wisconsin was going to be played the same day there. He's from Wisconsin. Maybe we would get just a little bit of a break. So Mom, on the mend, kind of at home, is going to get to watch on the TV, the Rose Parade go by, and we thought that that would be really cool. So we went December 31st. Early in the evening, December 30th, Baby Flo colics. John tells me it feels a little bit more serious than last time, and we're not sure. We keep blaming it on the weather or something else that it could be, and he gives her a little Banamine. She gets a little better. December 31st, morning of, she's not better. I tell him I'm gonna fly home, and he says, just wait a second, I'm gonna take her down to the vet. We take her to the first vet that oils her, does all the normal things, and they say, like, we just cannot get this mare stable. This is not looking good. So we called the vet that worked on Chuck Taylor just a little further down the road, And I called my vet that worked on Chuck Taylor, Dr. John Janacek, and he said, take her to Dr. David Stevens. He's the best in the world at this. So we take her down there, December 31st. I said, I let him examine her. Dr. John Janacek, which now works at Brazos Valley, he called me and he said, before David calls you, friend to friend, he's gonna tell you that if he has to go to surgery, if he finds that she needs to go to surgery, she's probably not gonna make it. I lose it in public. I just completely lose it. I nearly passed out. I said, I'm coming home, I'm coming home. He said, wait till David calls you. I talked to David. He said, here's the deal. We've got this mare stable, but it's baby Flo. We're obviously gonna throw the book at her. We're gonna do everything in our power. He said, if we gotta go to surgery, it's not gonna be good. We're gonna do our very best. I said, well, I'm gonna come home right now. I called the people that managed my contract and the float and everything, and I said, I don't care what you have to do to me. Put me in jail, find me, sue me, whatever you gotta do. I'm going home. They were incredible, and they were like, we totally understand. Do what you gotta do. Dr. David said, in the kindest words possible, please, for the love of God, don't come home. And his reasoning was, it's already baby Flo. This is already so much pressure. I do not need a frantic owner standing over my shoulder watching me do surgery if I have to do surgery. I respect everyone's craft. I think that's something that we do here really well, is just like trying to make sure that we don't interfere with people, don't interfere with greatness. And I understood that more than he could probably ever know. So I just prayed that night we wouldn't have to go into surgery. We obviously have a fire group text, and we were just texting each other like, cash in all your Jesus coins right now that baby Flo doesn't have to go into surgery. I'm gonna stay my butt on this parade float, and I'm gonna do my best. And so I got all ready, 5 a.m., put on my full Rose Parade outfit. We're there with other world champions. All of us are all there, the like celebrities, we're all together. And I get the phone call from Dr. David, and I knew it couldn't be good. And he said, she's gotta go into surgery right now. And you can't fly home, and it's too late. And I'm going into surgery in the next hour. And you're just gonna have to pray. And I said, what are the probabilities, and what are the, all the details? And he said, you just gotta pray. He said, I'll never forget, he said, if your knees don't have bruises on them from getting down on your knees and praying, and if your neck doesn't hurt from looking up at Jesus, you haven't done good enough. And I've never had a vet tell me that, so it freaked me out. And I just didn't know if she would be okay. So here I am on the parade float, just waving, and Alex he gets a gold medal because he walked every mile of that parade handing me napkins, and I wore these big giant sunglasses, and I would just pat the tears from underneath, and I had my Apple Watch, and I was just watching the texts come through with the updates. You couldn't have a phone out on the float, and so I don't know if it was my mom or Jessie that would text me that the float was about to come in the shot of the cameras, but I would pat my face and I would look through my watch really quick, and then I would go right back to waving to make sure that I didn't look distracted on the float. And then I got another text in that said, you're not gonna believe what we found. And John was there, and he sent me a picture of her just on the surgery table, all 4 legs up. I don't know what to do with that information. How do I'm just like, how do I process this? She's given me everything. At that point, all I could do was just pray. That was it. My goal, when I tell everybody about visualization and setting goals, I was like, I better take a page out of my own book really quick and get my crap together, because if I don't visualize a goal for this, and if I don't start meditating on this, I may lose the opportunity to ever see my horse again. So I wrote down and I meditated things that I regretted with her that I would do if she made it. One of them was put the world champion saddle on her that she won me. I'd never put it on her back. I'd never ridden in it. And the other one was to take pictures with her and her foals, because I feel like I hadn't taken enough great pictures with her, just to have just like family photos. Like I hadn't done that enough. Like I'd taken snapshots of her like before runs, but not like family photos with all of her foals. So I just started to like meditate on that and just hope to God that I would get the opportunity to do something just that simple. Like forget rodeo, forget running her, forget anything. I just wanted to put the saddle on her back and take a couple of pictures. So if she would just pull through to give us that much, that's really all I was hoping for.
11 days before my horse got rushed into surgery, my mom was diagnosed with advanced cancer. And only a small amount of people know it. And me and Alex were headed to go to see baby Flo in surgery, and my mom has been rushed into emergency.
That's definitely not the end of the story.